Arsenal 3, Lyon 0, and the Arsenal are back, everyone. It's been a long break due to the World Cup, and even though the World Cup is still going on, Arsenal played a friendly fixture today in Dubai against Lyon and came out 3-0 victors. I'm going to talk about my match reaction to the game. I'm actually pleasantly surprised. I thought for the first time Arsenal playing a lot of rotation players that aren't going to the World Cup, it'd be a bit of a slow burner. But Arsenal came flying out the traps and played some beautiful football to start the game. A lot of liquid, interchanging stuff, especially Vieira and Odegaard. Them two together look really good. It reminded me of Cazorla and Ozil at times, where you have two dominant ball-playing midfielders unlocking the door. It was really nice to see, and they combined for a couple of Arsenal's goals today, and we really just looked overall good. You can say, okay, it's a pre-season, it didn't really matter, not both the teams are really going to be up to scratch, it's not going to be a lot of the team's starting players, but we all said at the start of this season, when Arsenal came out and won basically all of their pre-season games, you were saying, oh, but it's just pre-season. Well, again, Arsenal done the same thing, won our first pre-season game in convincing fashion. And you can use a pre-season to build a foundation for the following games that actually matter in the season. So, would I rather Arsenal win this game or lose this game? Obviously win, and that's what Arsenal have done. And not only just win, but put out convincing performance, a clean sheet and 3 goals in the first half. The first half is where it all mattered. In the second half, a lot of players got subbed off, a lot of rotations, a lot of the academy players, if anything, playing the game. So I'm more going to spend a lot of my energy in the first half and talk about a few players that really stood out. First of all, before I do want to mention Karl Hein. Obviously against Brighton in his first game for Arsenal, it wasn't his greatest match, let's be completely honest. Look, it was his first game. He was obviously new to playing in front of the big lights at the Emirates Stadium. Today I thought he had a great game. Great throughout the match, and in the penalty shootout, he was the hero as he saved 4 of the 5 penalties, which of course led Arsenal to also win the penalty shootout as well as the game. So we got 4 points in this Dubai friendly tournament cup, whatever you call it. But in terms of the actual outfield players that really caught the eye for me, Odegaard and Vieira, especially them two. Odegaard, he looked like he hadn't missed a beat. He looked like he's been consistently playing throughout this whole season and there wasn't even a break in place. He was linking up the play beautifully. His switches from left to right, his dummies, he just looked a class above the rest and looked like the best player on that pitch by a mile. His mate, Vieira, playing off the right today. Now we've seen, of course, Emil Smith-Rowe last season before his injury, playing off the left. Almost not like a direct winger, but like another attacking midfielder off the left-hand side, someone like the Grealish. We've now seen it on the right with Fabio Vieira. Of course, I prefer my direct wingers like Sancar Media, but this is a good option, having some more ball players in the team that can unlock a door. Vieira was brilliant today. His runs from the right-hand side was really good, especially for it not being his natural position. And he came and got a great assist over to Nketiah on Arsenal's second goal, and also scored a beautiful goal of nice pass and move play from Arsenal, which he wrapped into the top corner for Arsenal's third goal. So them two are really exciting today. Eddie Nketiah as well. Of course, we've all heard the news about Gabriel Jesus having surgery, at least successful surgery, that's the good news, on his right knee, but it will mean he misses at least 3 months of action. Eddie Nketiah needs to step up, because even if we do sign a striker in January, my guess is the earliest they'll come is mid-January, which means we still have a good 3 or 4 games where Nketiah is going to be needed to play up front through the middle, and we need him to start firing. A lot of people think it's the end of our title race, it's the end of our season. Look, it's not. We had Nketiah last season and he was doing the business. Remember, we beat Chelsea away, we beat Man United, we beat West Ham away. Eddie Nketiah can do the business up front. My worry is he can't sustain it consistently. I don't trust Eddie Nketiah over a 10-15 game stretch, but I do trust him over 2 or 3 games. So we do need to sign a striker in January, but we need to put all our faith behind Eddie, and the fact he got a goal today, and it was a nice strikers type goal, a one-on-one that he dispatched perfectly. That's a really good sign, because a lot of these strikers play off confidence, and we need Eddie Nketiah on high confidence, especially for this Arsenal squad, because he cannot let this team down one bit, because all of the rest of the squad is firing. Sometimes also the centre-back Gabriel, of course, got Arsenal's third goal off a corner from Odegaard. We know what he's like in the air, dominating. I thought he was a bit unlucky to not go to the World Cup, especially given Arsenal are top of the table and he started pretty much every Premier League game. Bit unlucky for Magalhaes to not make the World Cup squad. Is what it is. He looked like he wasn't sweating it too much. He put in another great performance in defence. And next to him, of course, his old buddy, Mr. Reliable, Rob Holding, who's obviously become a rotation player for Arsenal. In terms of the rest of the squad though, look, it was a lot of rotation players. A lot of players that have come back now, the likes of Granit Xhaka, Partey, Tomiyasu. I expect them to feature in maybe Arsenal's game against Juventus at the Emirates in next week's time. But I think these Dubai games will come a little bit early for them because I expect those players to have a little mini break holiday before they then come back, I believe, for the final week before the Premier League season resumes on Boxing Day. Arsenal versus West Ham United. We need to give them not a break. In terms of players that are still out at the World Cup, William Saliba, he's barely touched the field. I think he came on for like 20 minutes against Tunisia for France. We've of course got the England boys, Ramsdale and Saka. I'm not sure what's happened to Ben White. He's had to go home for personal reasons. I'm not sure whether that will continue going forward into the season. I hope it's not. I wish him the best, obviously. If it means he can't feature for our first few games, so be it. But I just hope he is back because he's been an absolute stalwart in defence for us this season. In terms of our other options, of course, Gabriel Jesus has had to come home. Even though he can't feature, he's got surgery. Gabriel Martinelli is still out in Qatar for Brazil. He's getting a fair few features off the bench, but hasn't really managed to start yet in a meaningful game for Brazil this tournament. I do expect Brazil to go quite far though. So we might not see Gabriel Martinelli back until maybe the very end of the tournament, which means he might be missing for the first Arsenal game against West Ham, depending on whether Arsenal want to give these players a break. And of course, if they want to have a break, they're entitled to one. But they might say, you know what, we're going for this league title. I'm coming back, man. I'm postponing my holiday because I'm gunning for this title with this Arsenal squad. We ain't got time for vacations around here. So I do hope that's the mentality of some of these players. But in terms of the game itself, Arsenal now have 4 points. The way the format happened was you get 3 points for the win, and then there's a penalty shootout no matter the score, and then you got an option for another point if you do win the penalty shootout. So Arsenal have 4 points, Lyon have 0. I do believe the other teams are AC Milan and Liverpool, who I believe will play each other. Of course, this tournament means absolutely nothing. I'm just looking at the performances and then the results. That's what I'm looking at. And of course, we don't want any injuries, especially to any of our starters. No injuries whatsoever. But the performance looked good today. And the performances at the start of the pre-season, when we beat Chelsea, for example, it looked good as well. So if you're looking at it from that aspect, really good overall from Arsenal. And I hope we can sustain this run going into the new season, because even though Gabriel Jesus is out, I still have a lot of faith that Arsenal can do something really special this season and hopefully push for potentially winning the league title. As always, if you guys enjoyed this video, make sure you subscribe down below to Why Football and let me know your thoughts of the game in the comment section down below. I hope to see you all in my next video.